Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Association of the United States Army's annual meeting and trade show in Washington, D.C. Our coverage here is sponsored by AM General, Elbit Systems of America, General Motors Hydrotech, L3 Technologies, and Leonardo DRS. And we're over here at the JCB stand, which stands for Joseph Cyril Bamford, world's largest privately owned heavy equipment maker. And we're talking to Chris Georgianni, who is the Government and Defense Vice President here. Chris, thanks very much for the time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
I've been, when I've traveled to cover operations around the world, sometimes it does depend on a forklift or a bulldozer or other construction vehicle, and that's what you guys are leading suppliers of. Talk to us a little bit about your entry into the space. It's a British company, but you guys are based in Savannah, Georgia. Have a long history of business in the United States, but are growing in the military side of the business. Talk to us a little bit about what are some of the offerings that you guys are presenting to the U.S. Army, and what your growth strategy here is in the United States.
JCB's been supplying military products, both commercial off-the-shelf and dedicated vehicles for some time. Specifically, what we're doing here in Savannah, Georgia, is we build our high mobility engineer excavator. That's a ground-up clean sheet paper design that we worked with the military on back in the late 2007-2008 time frame. That machine travels at over 60 miles an hour and travels at convoy speed and allows that machine to stay up with convoy, so you don't have to have a dedicated vehicle taking it to and from the field. We also have got a wide array of COTS products, or commercial off-the-shelf. Most recently, we've secured a 10-year contract with the U.S. military for our light capability rough terrain forklift. That machine's a 5,000-pound lift capacity machine, actually 5,400-pound lift capacity machine, that will be a logistics enabler both for our militaries here and also worldwide.
Talk to us a little bit about where you see the business in the United States growing. It's obvious that you guys are here, you guys are trying to expand your footprint in the United States. What are some other sorts of systems that you guys are looking at, including on the autonomous side of things? Because particularly, combat engineers, the Israeli Army will tell you one of the most important things they have is their armored combat bulldozers that they use. But that's also a use that you may want to, especially for a lot of sapper duties, you may want to automate. Talk to us a little bit about sort of where you see the growth, where you guys are going to be positioning yourself over the long term. There are a lot of competitors in the market, but also on autonomy and where you see that going over the next few years, both from a commercial application standpoint, but also from a military standpoint.
Well, overall, JCB, we really relocated our government defense business to the U.S. because this is the biggest opportunity for us. When we look at opportunities in the future, every machine that JCB builds could be a military vehicle. So, and when we start talking the phrase I used before, COTS, commercial off the shelf, that's essentially taking our commercial offering and solution and with slight military modification, making it work for the militaries around the world. The LCRTF, light capability rough terrain forklift, is an example of it. The machine behind me here is another example to where we can take what industry is already using and apply it to the military sphere. We do see that from an opportunity standpoint as one of our biggest opportunities in the future, whether it be earth moving equipment, excavators, skid steer loaders, wheel loaders, generators, power generation. We've got a whole suite of products that could be used in the military, and that's where our focus is for the future. As far as autonomy goes, we've done some work looking at robotics and remote control in the civilian sector, and we're also looking at in the military sphere as well. We've demonstrated our skid steer loader, the Teleskid XRM for the military. We've demonstrated that remote control capable as well, because ultimately you want to take the soldier out from harm's way, and the way to do that is by remote control. You see it in aircraft, you see it in larger vehicles, and obviously we've been looking at that on the construction side as well.
You guys are a privately held company. You're the only privately held company well, are you the only one? Or there are others? Is Liebherr?
We're the largest.
You're the largest public, okay, privately. You're the largest privately held heavy equipment maker in the world. Is that an advantage for you guys, or a disadvantage in terms of getting that investment you need, especially to whether it's to develop new products or focus more on the military side of things, or is it an advantage from your perspective?
We're nimble on our feet. We've got one shareholder, and he's committed, and we as a company are committed to the government defense sector, so hence the investment is there. As far as, the military is a different customer. Commercial, you sell a product, the transaction happens very quickly. The military is a very patient, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. and we're geared to support that marathon. We work with our congressional leaders, we work with the military to be able to ensure as we win the contracts, we're able to sustain those contracts with funding throughout the life of the period.
And one last question. Each of the military services, and this is a funding constrained environment, we still don't know what's going to be next. The Budget Control Act still stays in effect. And each of the services are making trade-offs. There's an expectation of more money, but it hasn't materialized yet. When it comes to that, are you guys still getting the priority put on it? Because the military services have a tendency of focusing on the combat gear and not necessarily as much on the support gear, even though the support gear is the key enabler to be able to do operations. Do you feel that there is that visibility that folks are focused on this issue, or are you concerned that it becomes a little bit of a secondary priority or maybe even a third priority when folks are looking at the budget challenge?
I think the focus is there, but it's incumbent upon us to continue to engage with our military leaders and our congressional, as I said, leaders as well, because you need logistic enablers to get the job done. The bullets need to get to the troops, the tools, etc. And without the equipment to take those pallets out of the containers, to dig the areas around to support the soldier in the field, you're not going to be able to get the job done. So it's up to us to continue to that engagement, as I said, with these contracts, to make sure that the funding is there, and it's something we're committed to.
Chris, thanks very much. Really appreciate the time.
Oh, great. That was good. Thank you very much.